Welcome to LOA Today. Walt Thiessen and life coach Linda Armstrong here. Today is Friday, March the 15th, 2019. It's 4 p.m. in New York, 1 p.m. in Los Angeles. It's 8 p.m. in London. Sydney, Australia is at 11 a.m. But wherever you are in the world, or no, yes, 11 a.m. Did I get that right? No, I'm sorry. They're at 7 a.m. Sorry about that. I'm getting confused about my time conversions now that we're having daylight savings time. But that's okay. No big deal. Wherever you are in the world, thanks for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And we hoped that maybe today the live stream to Facebook was going to work because I tried doing a test and it got through. And then we went to actually do the live stream of the broadcast and it didn't get through. So it seems like Facebook is working on it. So if you're a live stream listener and you haven't been able to catch us, that's why. And hopefully by like next week, everything's going to be straightened out. We'll be able to live stream again. But, in the meantime, this just means that Linda and I have a nice conversation and talk about some LOA stuff. And I'll just start off by saying, Linda, it's nice to see you feeling healthy again, because I know you weren't feeling so good last week. So that's good news right there.
Yeah.
So very good.
A lot of purging going on, a lot of releasing. I know so many people, so many of my clients who have been sick over the past couple of weeks.
Really? Wow.
Some getting the flu, all sorts of things. But it's really just this massive purge of energy.
Okay.
Non-supportive energy. So really you want to just love yourself during those times and whatever's happened to you, just really allow yourself to take, I have one client who just never rests. He wound up getting the flu, right? Because, your body needs to be able to have some downtime.
Yeah.
And if you want to push it that hard, but maybe it was good for him because it probably brought up a whole bunch of stuff for him to just be with and let go,
This is true. Sure.
So,
yeah.
There's nothing wasted, it's like, and usually when you come from that kind of, point of view, you just pass through it sooner. Like I knew I was just purging some stuff and my energy wasn't up enough to be able to do the show. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get someone else to fill in or whatever.
Which you did, and that was wonderful. That was great. I got to meet a new friend that way, and, it was good. Yeah. It was a good thing. So, these things do work out very nicely. Now, I have to ask you, I think you did catch it sooner than I did. I got this flu that was going around a few weeks ago, and it took me about 36 hours to remember that, I control this in my mind. This is me. I presume you got there a little bit quicker than I did.
Yeah, no, I'm just very aware of what's going on with my body a lot lately. A lot. I just, I know what it's all about. So yeah. Yeah,
so that's nice. That's a good thing to be able to just tap right in and always be aware like that. That's really good.
Yeah,
that's where that's where I'm getting to.
I'm hardly ever sick. I'll just have something going on. Like it's nothing major, but it's enough for me to say, okay, let me just chill, let this process.
So you didn't even get a full blown flu, so that's even better.
No, I didn't get the flu. No.
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty good to be able to stop it that much. That's almost better than taking one of these over the counter remedies that are designed to catch the flu early and stop it. You just did it with your mind and with your energy. That's pretty good. Yeah. So, well, since we don't have the live stream, obviously we can't pick up questions from our listeners because they can't really hear us because we can't even see them. So we'll have to kind of improvise a little bit, but I actually had something I wanted to ask you about because of this whole incident with Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp going down on Wednesday, and they were out for I think they were down pretty much all day and into the next morning on Thursday, and they finally announced somewhere around 11, 12 o'clock in the morning Eastern time that everything was coming back to normal, which it mostly is. The average user can post their posts and comments and likes and all that kind of thing. But we're still having trouble with some of the live streaming. All that raises the question of energy and how spiritual energy interacts with electrical energy and with internet type energy and all that kind of thing. So first of all, in your view, what is the connection? I presume it's all just kind of energy, so it's all pretty much in the same ballpark. But
I don't know. I don't really know for sure, but I know that if you talk to a lot of astrologists who are talking about how Mercury is in retrograde, and whenever Mercury particularly goes into retrograde, and I really know nothing about this except what I hear from all of these people, how things just start not working well, especially electronic things. Problems with your computers and hookups and things like that, your phone, appliances, a lot of that goes on, and you can see that. You could actually see it when you're aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows if it was some massive thing to do with something like that, being that, hey, everything is changing. The energies are shifting. So yeah, maybe something there. But that Mercury in retrograde thing can bring up lots of stuff. Like, a lot of the astrologists will say, don't sign any contracts during that time. Put it off. That there could be like a lot of wacky stuff that could take place. So if anybody's interested in that, they could kind of look that up and find out more for themselves.
Yeah, sure. Actually, as you were saying that, I realized there was another event that happened in the last few days, just the same 3-day period, with our microwave. We have a tabletop microwave, and it burned itself out. It stopped working. And there was some really good news that went along with it. The good news is we'd had an office open for Louise's gardening business that we've since closed, and we're doing it out of the house now. And so we had this extra microwave hanging around. So it's not like we lost any downtime. Just toss the old one out, bring in the new one, and we're up and running again.
Right.
But it just occurred to me, there's another event that happened in the middle of all this cycle, burning out a microwave oven.
Yeah. There's plenty of that stuff around. If you notice, you'll notice it, or you'll hear other people complaining about things like that. Oh, in fact, it happened to my husband's phone pairing with my car. The normal way of doing it just wasn't working.
Oh.
And it was like so frustrating because normally you just push that button and it works, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then it doesn't. And you try all these other buttons and you feel, and I'm like, oh my God, my energy's going wacky here. Let's just chill. And then we got it to work. It's almost as if like once we were like, hold on, look what this is. Can you see how we're reacting to the way this thing isn't doing what it normally does? So my son was in the car too, all three. So you froze on me. I hope you're still there. So
my thing's here, but I'll get it back.
Okay, we kind of just like laughed at it, and then it started working again. So
that is crazy.
I forgot about that one. Like that's a type of thing that you'll come across, like strange things like that.
And there is another example of it. I mean, my camera just kind of crapped out in the middle of the conversation.
Yeah.
I had to go kind of reset it to get it back. So
yeah, maybe that spirit saying, "Look, there is actually something to this. Let's take that out right now. It's never happened before, but let's do it right now."
Yeah, just to catch our attention. It worked. Okay, we hear you. We hear you. Got it.
They're like, "Yay! They're listening. They're noticing." Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you about something live on the program that you talked about with me offline a week or two ago, which is that you were observing. We may even have touched on it during the program, but I want to touch on it again here. You observed that everything that you've been seeing and hearing online tells you we're going into a tremendously positive energy period, that there's a lot of sort of general across the board spiritual lifting going on. And I wondered if you could just kind of elaborate on that a little bit, and we could talk about that for a bit.
Kind of funny you say that because I just put up a video and it's about a spiritual awakening, painful endings and new beginnings. And why did I want to go there? Oh yeah, because there's a lot of, we're supposedly everything's shifting. The planet's energy shifting, our energy shifting. We're trying to keep up with it. Mm-hmm. And, but while that happens, while this new beginning is coming, there's a lot of the purging going on, like everybody getting sick, right?
Right.
And all these crazy things going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a purging, right? I mean, I don't keep up on the politics stuff, but I know my husband will talk about how there's all these supposedly indictments coming out, not just in Hollywood for pedophilia, but through in the government as well, big time, right? Yeah. I don't even want to talk about it because I know nothing about it and I don't want to put my energy there.
Right.
But like, why is that all coming out now?
Well, and I would even say that there's a healthy side to that. I would say that's actually a good thing that it's all coming out like that.
It's a good thing, but it looks like something really negative happening. But that's the thing. Painful endings, new beginnings. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Because what about all the victims of all of those people? I mean, that's really painful.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're going through a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And yet I keep thinking to myself, I've been thinking about this ever since our current president became president, that there's a lot of people who are very much in favor of him. There are a lot of people who are very much against him. But no matter which side you're on, it seems to me that just because of who he is, just because of the issues he brings up, he's bringing up stuff that has been kind of sitting below the surface for a long, long time and just never really got addressed. And it's now getting addressed. Now, is it being addressed in a healthy way? Sometimes no, sometimes yes. I mean, it's a mixture.
Yeah, but isn't it good that there's somebody shaking it all up?
Exactly.
And
that's
why
the point.
now?
Yeah.
Why now?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what it is. It's almost like, like when a dog shakes itself off and the water goes flying. It's almost like the planet doing this thing, and like all the nonsense junk is going to be handled, right? Coming up to release.
I love that. I have this image now of the Earth going shaking all the water in all directions.
Well, that visual just popped in my head, so I guess that's one way that maybe Spirit's looking at it, like, we're just shaking it off.
Right. Yeah.
Fly off.
That's pretty funny. That's good. Well, so how do we take advantage of that as individuals? I mean, there is, like you said, this purge going on. There's this energy shift going on. Those of us who are aware of the importance of our thoughts, who are aware of the importance of being into the best feeling place we can be in, how do we take advantage of this? How do we play into this and really, milk it for what it's worth?
Allow yourself to feel everything that comes up for you, and to either find ways to release it on your own, or get people like me and healers and even coaches that can help you to lift these. If you're running up against something that's causing difficulty, you feel stuck or you just can't get past it, there's something there to be released, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, because it's a block. It's in the way, and we got to break through it. So I don't know where I'm going with that, but it's like more and more of that is coming up now. Like, I know so many people just wanting to change their whole life, like going a whole different direction. Well, part of that is too that more and more people are coming into this awakening and bringing in light and wanting to help other people.
Sure.
So if the position they were in their life, the work they were doing wasn't of service in a way that fills their heart, well, they want to move into another way where they can be of service,
right.
However that is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can be in service in so many different ways, but it depends on, everything has a service, right? If you're doing a job, you're getting paid for it, somebody's getting a service somewhere, somehow, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But as you wake up more and you're bringing in more of this light, you want to have more of a higher purpose or a higher service maybe that really helps people move forward in their life or whatever it is. At least that's what it is for me. Mm-hmm. So some people have already come to it. A lot of people maybe are only now just waking up to it, right? Because that's what's happening. At least that's what I think is happening.
I agree with you.
It's like that.
Yeah. I can't remember how far back this was, but one of the episodes from months ago, I think it was Cindy Chavez and I were talking. But we were talking about how there was a lot of really negative angst, particularly in the political arena, but a lot of really big frustration and fear and anger and so forth going on. And we were talking about that, and it occurred to me how Abraham in particular, and others too, talk about the fact that when you are in alignment with your inner being, you feel good. And you don't have any disagreement because your inner being is always looking at the positive side of you. They're always looking at the good side of you, right? When we're not feeling good, it means we're kind of in disagreement with our inner being. The inner being says, yes, everything's great. And we're saying, no, everything's not great. And that's where we start to feel the negative emotions. So it occurs to me that when you have a society or a planet of people who are all, or let's just say a significant number are feeling anger, frustration, and just generally not feeling good about stuff going on, it means that they are relatively out of alignment. Yeah, there goes my picture again. This is crazy. And now it's back. There it is. So they're
all right, so repeat what you were just saying, because maybe you're getting acknowledgement right
Okay, all right. So they're basically getting this thing that's relatively out of alignment. And as a result, they're feeling more and more angst. It also occurs to me that the vast majority of people have no idea who Abraham Hicks is. And the vast majority don't even know what law of attraction is. Most of them, if they have any kind of training, it's traditional Christian church or Muslim or Hindu or whatever their major religion is, and that's pretty much the extent of it. And they're not getting the kind of conversations that we talk about. So they are creating and they are reacting and so forth in an environment where they don't understand what they're experiencing. They don't understand what's going on. And it occurs to me, if there is this overall kind of an increase in spirituality going on, and you have a whole large population that aren't aware of that and aren't aware of what the implications are, then they're going to feel more and more uncomfortable. Because the further away you feel, you get from feel good, the more uncomfortable you get. And that's what's happening. It's like the whole planet is moving away from them in terms of, feeling good. And they're noticing it. They're experiencing that. But also,
there are plenty of people that feel great and that are thriving and that are in sync with themselves and don't know about Abraham. So
sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm identifying it. I'm saying this is a phenomenon that's going on. And as Abraham teaches us, contrast is where we have our best things happen. Contrast is also uncomfortable, but it's where the best things happen. Joel likes to talk a lot about struggle and how important struggle is. And when we're really, really struggling the most, that's when we have our biggest advances and so forth. So that just kind of, that whole scenario just kind of reinforces for me what we were talking about 10 minutes ago. That this is all one great big jumping on the diving springboard and springboarding into the air,
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the truth of it. And, we come here to this planet as souls to grow and expand, to move through experience, to learn lessons maybe we didn't learn or didn't get to resolve in a different time, right?
Yep.
So it's going to bring up this, stuff to look at. Oh, wow. Okay. So I don't know, my video, I could see me in the little corner. I don't know, I can't see you though.
My video just went bonkers, so I'm trying to get it back, so I'll hopefully be back here in a second.
I was just shuffling cards, and a card fell, and this was the card.
See only love.
The only love from the angel deck, right? So, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Because really, it's like, it's either love or lack of love, right?
Right. This is true.
And so when you don't see the love in things or the possibility of love or how to love yourself more through an experience or how to love that cold that you have right now as it's releasing for you, it makes everything harder. Mm-hmm. So as you bring more light in, what is light? Light is love. So that's what the whole awakening thing is, coming more into that higher vibration, which is everything I was talking about, moving into a high vibration.
Right.
That's what that course is about that I have. But that's only part of it, because that's just part of the manifesting thing. Mm-hmm. You want to appreciate these lower things, the struggles, the things that come up for the growth that they will give you, because that's what we want to do. Mm-hmm. So when you realize, well, if I am here for experience so I can grow and evolve, then why don't I look at this problem as knowing that I created it, and that's the big part, right? Mm-hmm. That's the big part about awakening, when you realize that you creating everything. You're not putting the blame out on everyone else, because as long as you're blaming everyone else for it, you can't actually dive into it and see what it wants to teach you. Because you think you're the effect of something, instead of you having created something in order to have you learn and lift and come through it, right?
And that's the massive lesson right there.
See what the See Only Love card tells us.
Okay.
So it says, and we'll see how it applies to what we're talking about. It says, look past the seeming errors, mistakes, and misunderstandings and see only the love within each person, including yourself. Your resolute focus upon the love that underlies every situation brings about healing and in undreamed of ways. So that's what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. It's a perfect card. It just fell out on the floor. I had to pick it up. Okay. It says the angels gave you this card as a reminder to see yourself, others, in every situation through their eyes. When you focus on love, everything that's unloving falls away. It's like turning on the light to diminish the previous darkness. Call upon the angels whenever you need help to elevate your vision to a more loving vantage point. So I like that last sentence, because even if you don't know how to do it for yourself, call on help from spirit. I don't know how to get through this thing. So that's the whole thing. And that's the next course I'm starting to make. And it has to do with bypassing that ego fear-based mind and moving into the soul space and leading your life through trusting in that connection to guide you, right? Because you're here, but you got a team around you that wants to help you succeed with your mission in your life, right? Mm-hmm. To learn your lessons so you can evolve and grow. I'm listening to a book right now. It's called, let's get the name of it. Destiny of Souls.
Okay.
Yeah, Destiny of Souls. Let's see if I can get the author's name right now. No, can't see it right now. Michael Newton. So he does hypnotherapy. Oh. And so I think I've shared the Soul's Plan book with you before.
Oh, yeah.
From Robert Schwartz. And he has people hook into their pre-birth planning.
Right.
But this goes into what happens in the spirit world. So he has thousands of people under hypnosis tell stories of their journey after they pass and the counsel that they go to speak to, the life review, getting to the point where they're now planning their next body and all this kind of stuff and what they're going to learn. And, it's pretty fascinating because when you can open your mind to, this stuff right here, right now, it's just stuff right here, right now. There's so much more.
Uh-oh. Now we got you freezing. What happened? Let's see, I gotta make sure it didn't happen at my end. Do I have full signal? Yeah, I got a good signal. Oh, well hopefully Linda's going to discover in a moment that she's disconnected. Something froze up at her end. Once again, proving, though, that this energy stuff is amazing because this is another example of how when spiritual energy interacts with traditional electrical energy or internet energy or whatever, all kinds of things happen. And there we go again with another example. So while I'm waiting for Linda to reconnect, I'm just going to double check, make sure my settings really are good. I think they are. Am I still working? Yep, I'm still working. So I'll just do a couple of announcements that I try to do every episode. Normally I do them at the end, but I'll do them here. First of all, if you're not yet a subscriber, hey, look what you're missing. All this crazy stuff that goes on. And we put this out every single episode. Everyone gets put out onto the podcast stream so that you can listen in and, tune into any of the episodes as you want to throughout your workday or over the weekend or whatever you want. We're doing 10 of them a weekend, so you really don't want to miss any of them. So become a subscriber. Just go to the homepage of our website at loatoday.net, and you'll find right there at the top of the page, we now have it set up so that it detects your link, what kind of device you're linking with, and so if you're using an iPhone, it gives you a pop-up link for subscribing using an iPhone. If you're using an Android, it gives you a pop-up link for subscribing using an Android phone, so on and so forth. Click on the link and walk through the process, and it will take you back to the point where you've got everything subscribed and you're all set to go. Then once you're subscribed, listen to all the episodes, of course, but each time you listen, please share the fact that you're listening on your favorite social media channel, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, because that's how we share the word. That's how we spread the word and share the fact that we are all tuned in. We're all listening. We're all paying attention and having fun and enjoying ourselves and laughing and wanting to share it with our friends and family. So please do share the fact that you are a listener, that you are tuned in, and we will, we will just be growing as a team as a result. Now I'm getting a message from Linda. She says a transformer blew. She's trying to reconnect. So hopefully that won't take too long. I tell you, this stuff is amazing. This spiritual energy stuff. I was never one to believe in Mercury retrograde. I'm beginning to wonder now. It's like spirits got my attention today, and I don't know why Mercury retrograde has anything to do with it, but whatever it is, hey, all this crazy stuff is happening. We got the Facebook outage. We've got the inability to live stream to Facebook. We've got my video kicking in and out. There's Linda being knocked offline. There's the microwave oven. I mean, okay, I got it, Spirit. I'm getting the message. I don't understand why it's happening, but I get it. It's happening. So, oh, wow, this stuff is crazy. So while Linda tries to reconnect, let's see, what else can I bring you up to speed on? For those of you who might have missed our morning podcast with Tom Wells and Alex King, Alex and I are now in the process of taking the information we kind of put together in that podcast and writing the first episode of our fictional series. And we're hoping that's going to come along pretty quick. Here comes Linda. She's logging back in.
Wow.
Yeah.
You want to talk about super wacky?
I was just commenting. I said, here's another example of it. Spirit and spiritual energy and physical energy interacting and producing these crazy results. This is just wild. Absolutely
So
wild.
I kept talking because I didn't know whose end it was on or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But then I texted my husband because it looked like my internet was down. He's like, yeah, there was a boom, like a transformer must have blown.
Wow, crazy.
And then we had to wait for everything to reboot up again.
Yeah, right. Well, it came up pretty quickly.
But
That's
as
good.
it happened, like all the lights flashed. So I'm like, did you see that? And then I realized I don't know if you saw that or not.
No, I
just
didn't.
went away.
No, you just kind of disappeared. But
Yeah.
I did get the message, so I was able to tell everybody you were coming back. So that was good. Thank you. At least one electronic device was working.
Yeah. So, maybe we're just getting a lot of confirmation that, yeah, there's a lot of shifting going on.
No kidding.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of shifting, a lot of purging. So if you have something going on in your life, or maybe there's, like I had this one difficult thing I've been through lately that I've actually experienced like 3 times. I have a thing with threes too. I'm like, you know what? I get it now. And I've totally released this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe you can look and see, like, what is it that's going on for you? Maybe things that have repeated in your life that you're just not enjoying, and try to take another look at it instead of like, usually we fight it or we hate it or we blame people outside of us for something, right?
Yeah.
So if you just own it, like, okay, why is this happening again? Like, what didn't I get the first time it happened? Like, why do I have to re-experience this? Get all your anger out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, yelling at like God in the universe, like, what the hell is going on here?
Yep.
And then I'm like, okay, that felt good. Thank you for letting me do that. Okay, now where am I at with this thing? Okay. So then I had to go within and really, dig for some stuff and find some patterns that I was just repeating that I've seen other people go through, right? I was like, all right, so let me just release this one once and for all and help my whole entire family. Like, let's just put this, nobody has to carry it forward anymore,
Yep.
So there's things like that are just really coming up.
Wow.
And maybe a lot of this, okay, this is what I'm hearing right now. Maybe a lot of this kind of stuff is so that we do wake up, so that we do realize this innate power we have to create our reality and then help share that even more, right?
Yeah.
Help pull people out of these things that they're going through. Maybe assist them in seeing how it actually could be benefiting them so that then they can decide, okay, I don't need to learn this lesson this way anymore. I can release it now.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a big lesson. That's a huge lesson right there, because if the more people who get that, the better off each of us are individually, but also the better we are all off as a society, because we all contribute to what's going on society-wise, regardless of whether we join a group or whatever, just because our energy is part of it. So, we're in it regardless.
Well, when I do energy clearing, especially when there's things that come up that are regrets or resentments, rejection that we feel is happening in our life, the way that I release that, along with spirit, of course, is that we have that person look at what did they actually gain from this? Because when you can see, say it's resentment towards someone or some situation, well, what did that bring up for you? What did that teach you? Well, it taught me how not to be like that with my own kids or something like this. Okay, let's think, say if it was a parent, let's thank that parent for teaching you how not to be and how to not to carry this further into the future, right? So then we can release the resentment. Because when we release the resentment, what do? We release that person from their obligation to teach you the lesson. So people actually shift by you shifting, because everything is a reflection. I always talk about that, of what's going on inside, right?
This is true.
So as you make this shift to seeing what it was you actually gained from the experience, then that experience, that person doesn't have to fulfill that part of the soul contract anymore. It's like, okay, you're done. I don't need to do that anymore. I can be myself. And then whole relationships change. It's pretty magical.
Well, that raises an interesting question, because what you're suggesting, I've heard before, but I hadn't really heard of it in this particular way that you're describing. Many of us are here, according to what you're describing, to interact with each other and to carry out these soul contracts and so forth. And in many cases, to interact with each other in ways that are unpleasant or uncomfortable. And then we reach the point where we're done with it, so we release it, and then that person's ready to go on with their lives. Which makes me wonder, how many times have I been involved in someone else's soul contract without being consciously aware of it? I mean,
all the time.
How would I know?
all the time. It's all the time. Listen, I mean, again, I don't know for sure, but it feels true to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why books like this, what is it? Destiny of Souls. What the heck is this book called? Destiny of Souls. And yet another one before this one. And books like that kind of make you understand or see the process of how we choose things, people, events, to be in our life, even though when we're going through it, we think, there's no way I chose this. Why would I choose this? Well, you don't know because it's on a soul level why you chose this experience. And like those people who go through some really severe stuff, well, guess what? They're really powerful souls to, ask for that experience, to want to be willing to go through this tough experience for whatever growth it is they're giving to themselves and to the people around them, Which
isn't exactly the easiest message to hear if you are one of those souls in the middle of the experience. It's a tough time to hear it, but yeah, when you look at it, when you have the perspective of looking at it from afar, it's easier to see that. And
that's why you want to pick up books like Journey of Souls and Destiny of Destiny of Souls. The other one was Journey of Souls, I think. Mm-hmm. Your Soul's Path. I mean, there's so many books out there like that. Who is it? Dolores Cannon has a whole healing modality, hypnotherapy modality that assists people to look at those, either other lifetimes or in between lifetimes to get healing and understanding for why things are happening now.
Is there anything that we as humans can do? Oh, go ahead.
What I want to say about that first is that this is not just, these people who are doing this work, they're not just talking to 5 people, 10 people, 100 people. They're talking to thousands of people. Mm-hmm. People have nothing to do with each other who under hypnosis will tell similar stories. So through all this experience, they can kind of build what it appears to be this sort of kind of a structure in the spirit world that we travel through in spirit before we even decide if we're coming back here or not, or going to a whole other planet, I mean, there's so much more than just what you see around you right here and now. So that's also part of the awakening. You start to open your mind to, and you always know this. I mean, as a kid, I always thought to myself, and I wasn't into religion, but I always thought, it's got to be something more than this.
Oh yeah, that's universal, I think.
Something more than this.
Yeah.
Everybody must have that thought, right?
Oh, I think so.
But who decides to actually look at it, and explore it and find out what is there?
Many of us run away from it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I know
but
that's
there are a lot of people
time.
doing work that will shed some light on it. So things like that really help you open your mind to that. And I'll tell you what makes it even more real for me is that when I meditate, when I get into that meditative space, my energy, I don't know where it begins and ends. I don't know where it begins and ends. It just is. It just is. And it feels connected to, like, it doesn't just, I mean, it's like you can't find words for it. And that proves it to me. I'm like, I could feel like I am right here, right now. I'm very aware of everything in my body and all that. And I could simply with just some breathing start to expand that energy out. Mm-hmm. Like when I did the etheric weaver for you, you felt that energy expand, right?
Well, I've noticed it lately. I've noticed lately that I am more attuned to stuff that's kind of outside my immediate zone, so to speak. And I'm still kind of getting used to it. I think it's kind of like what you said, that it was always there and I just wasn't really noticing it was there, and so now I'm noticing it. But as I'm noticing it, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so what is it I'm actually feeling there? What is there? What's the there that's there,
So stop even getting your mind to try and figure it out and just feel it, because your answers will come through the feeling of it. Mm-hmm. And maybe you're okay with not knowing specific answers, but just knowing that extended part of you. And opening up to, okay, so let's do some work together, whatever this is, Mm-hmm. But I like what you said something a couple of sentences ago, because this is us, whether you know it or not. That's the awakening. You start to open up to realizing that you're more than just this physical body in this physical place.
And I guess one thing I could conclude from what you were talking about there is that since we are all involved in these soul contracts, we may not be aware of them. We aren't aware of them. I mean, we're kind of like wandering with a blindfold on and trying to find where all this stuff is, so to speak. But since we don't know where it is, and we really can't necessarily reach out to it, or most of us can't. Maybe you can because you're pretty good at this stuff. But for the most part, we can't really touch it. So how do we help? I mean, are there ways that we can boost it? And I think what you're suggesting is, yeah, we boost it just by continuing to do the work on ourselves. The more that we work on ourselves, the more that we're helping fulfill whatever those soul contracts are.
Yeah, and also to connect with people who can connect even deeper. You know, people like me and there are people, lots of them, who can connect to your soul contracts. You know,
really?
I don't do that work, but they're out there. You know, the Robert Schwartz book of Your Soul's Plan, or Plan, I think it is. The mediums that he has in that book, they hold sessions for people all the time. I contacted one time. I was almost going to do a session with her, but then I didn't. But I had some of my clients go and have sessions with that woman.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can find them. You just have to look for them.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to dive in, if you wanted to go under hypnosis and see if you can be taken to your in-between life stuff, and then you hear back what you spoke about, you know, you'll be like, wow. Well, where the heck did that come from?
Yeah, right. And I have to say, there's probably a part. I mean, I've been talking in terms of, well, how do you do all this stuff? But there's the other part of me that says, Walt, why are you asking that question? You know, you don't really want to do that. You're just kind of curious how the whole thing works. But you don't really want to go to actually do that, because then you can start getting into all these soul contracts of other people, and you got enough going on trying to get your own stuff figured out, let alone anybody else's.
Well, you really would only tap into your own stuff. I mean, that's all they're going to tap into is your own stuff. You might see different players in different parts, and you'll understand, oh, no wonder why that person came into my life.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
Okay.
But it's like you can't tap into other people's stuff. Only they can tap into their own.
Okay. So
you might see who some of the players. You might actually be aware of some of the players in some way.
So once again, we're talking about the mirror again. This is all just the mirror of us.
Yeah.
Okay. That works. Yeah. This is interesting. I'm not sure where to take the conversation, but we've already some left there. And I'm still very aware right now of all these electrical phenomena we've been experiencing here during the show and in the last few days. And
yeah, because you've disappeared on me again.
Oh, am I gone again? Here it is again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll just do the reset here. Yeah, for whatever reason, this webcam doesn't want to stay connected. So there, I should be coming back now in a moment. Well, maybe not. Yeah, there I am.
There you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fun. That's fun.
This is wild stuff.
I like how the See Only Love card came out. So, because if you can just approach things like especially when you get really thrown off, you're like, okay, there's no love in that. Where can I find
That's a good
love
point.
in?
Yeah.
You know, like how do I connect to love or somehow? But there's always a way.
Well, that's advanced deliberate creation.
Coming into your heart.
That's advanced deliberate creation, because that when you're learning to do that, you're back beyond the basics. You are now really trying to stretch yourself and learn to be a total and complete deliberate creator, not just an occasional part-timer, which is good. Yeah. You know, it's a good thing to do, but it's challenging. There's lots of opportunities. It's not like the contrast goes away. We're always presented with the opportunities.
I think the more you start tapping into this stuff, and the more you start to see proof for yourself and see experiences changing by you changing, then the more you become more deliberate. Mm-hmm. It's like a learning curve, you know? Yeah. So some people just haven't woken up to that yet, and that's why you do your show every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of many reasons. Interestingly enough, I actually do the show every day because I just love doing the show every day. But I also hope that the other part's going to happen, that other people are going to be influenced and that they're going to want to, develop their own stuff and reach into themselves and so forth. I definitely hope that happens. I want that to happen on a really, really large scale. But ultimately, I do the show just because I love doing the show, which is what's so cool. What?
So the show lights you up and it brings you into this energy that's very high vibe. Mm-hmm. And so it's not only just for you. It could never be just for you because we are connected to everyone and everything. Mm. So even if you're not aware of it, by you wanting to be in that space every day, you're just sending that energy out to the collective conscious so that more people can snatch it. Maybe they're not listening to the podcast, but they can just snatch up that energy, because the more we put out that energy, the more of it is available.
Yeah, this is true.
Right? Because it's so easy to pick up on negative thought forms.
Oh, tremendously.
So what you're doing is putting out positive thought vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
I think I'm going to pick a spirit card for us to work with for this next week.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to see if I can get my cat under control, because he's looking for attention in the middle of the podcast.
Yeah, but that's fun because he likes this stuff.
Well, he was also in my lap about 10 minutes ago, and he had to get up and walk around and come back into my lap again. So apparently I wasn't getting him enough attention. He wants more of the energy coming his way. See, there he goes again. He just got up again.
As soon as I go to meditate, my cat will find me and come and sit on my lap.
Look at this guy. He's going nuts. Yeah.
Wants to soak it all in. Come on.
He does.
Give me some of that good stuff. So, Liz was talking about the scale of consciousness the last time.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I don't think she mentioned, but, at 500, that calibration
the scale.
for love.
Yeah.
A cat purring calibrates to 500.
Oh, really?
A dog wagging its tail calibrates to 500.
Interesting.
These animals are our teachers and healers.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this teacher is trying to get my attention. He's trying to get my attention to tell me something. I haven't quite figured out what it is.
I'm going to pick a card, and we're going to get, pick two. Koala Spirit. Spirit has a plan.
Okay.
And maybe I'll look at this other one, because for some reason 2 cards came up.
Okay.
I think we have a little bit of time for that.
Yeah, we do.
I might need reading glasses, though.
That's all right.
I have them close by. All right, so let's do this Koala Spirit. I don't think I've ever read this one yet. Number 35.
Ah, a new card.
And it was in the upright position. And here we go.
Koala Spirit, there he is. Okay.
All right. So, let me hold it up when my voice is going, because I don't think you're going to see it until I'm speaking maybe big enough, right? Because the artwork really speaks to you as well.
It's beautiful artwork, yeah.
So Koala Spirit has a plan. It says the oracle's message is, in nature, the koala moves slowly through the branches of the eucalyptus tree, leisurely chewing the leaves, reminding us that life is not a race or a competition. Chasing around after every distraction can keep us from recognizing that we have all we need with spirit. No, I'm sorry. Let me read that again. Chasing around after every distraction can keep us from recognizing that we have all we need and that spirit will always be there with gifts to sustain us. So that's that letting go.
Yeah.
Letting go and just allowing spirit to lead, right?
Right.
So you're being asked to trust that by moving slowly with faith and in the abundance that is everywhere, surrendering to a power greater than yourself, you'll be able to experience the manifestation you desire, which is great because it's like moving through with inspired action instead of trying to take so much action to make something happen.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing's going to happen then, right?
Right.
So as you take your time enjoying the riches available to you right now, sitting peacefully, you begin to radiate the joy and the abundance that you seek. Spirit is here to help you discover your happiness, pleasure, and contentment, all the gifts that are yours now and in the future. Have faith and trust in Spirit's plan for you, and know that you are loved and cherished. All right, that's a great card. That speaks to a lot of the stuff we talked about.
Yeah.
But let's look at the Dragonfly card, because that one came up too. All right, Dragonfly.
Okay.
And it says, truth transcends illusion.
Ah.
All right, let's read that message. Again, it was in the upright position. Okay, and this one says, Dragonfly Spirit is here to remind you of the wisdom and the truth available at all times in the hidden realms. Right? Allowing that support from in the spirit world. So just as the dragonfly catches your eye with its reflective wings and body, Dragonfly Spirit appears to tell you to pay attention to the truth beyond the illusion and recognize the insights that come seemingly out of nowhere, peeking through from behind the veil. In the realm of spirit, there is far more wisdom than can be perceived with your senses, and there's a deep knowing that you're not separate or alone, for a higher power recognizes you and loves you beyond measure. Fears dissipate as you realize that you are embraced by the nurturing forces that is everywhere, always in communication with you. So, alighting when you are preoccupied, Dragonfly Spirit offers this message. You exist in unity with all, including the protective spirits who share their wisdom, and you are being nudged along the path your soul needs to travel to have the experiences that it craves. Love exists in many forms, and sometimes we overlook it when we don't recognize the particular form. So pay attention to the signs now. They remind you that each of us have inspired dreams seamlessly sewn into the fabric of the invisible world. And there is great consciousness that exists in the seemingly empty spaces, guiding us on our journey. Open to the truth, letting the wisdom of the hidden realms inform you, providing insights that your conscious mind overlooks. All right. So we were talking a lot about this stuff beyond us today, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this card's talking about.
Yeah, I feel like that card is directly addressing the questions that I was raising. Just by saying, you know, okay, that stuff's out there, you can't see it, don't worry about it. Let it go. Yeah. It's fine. Everything's working out great. So let it go.
Trust and allow the support that's there that we can't see, right? I know the more that I've been doing that lately, and that's why I want to do this course about, bypassing that fear-based ego mind and just stepping into that soul space where it's just peace and love and everything flows with ease, right? If we would just let go, Abraham says you just have to get out of your own way, right?
Right.
If we would just do that, it's all there.
Yeah, that's definitely the downstream metaphor. Just let go of the oars and you float downstream to where everything is that you want.
We just have a hard time letting go of control.
It takes practice. It takes trial and missing it and trial and missing it and then getting it a little bit better and a little bit better. It just takes time to learn it. It's not.
But guess what?
Not so easy.
I bet you can do it for a week. Let's do it for this week. Right? Let's everybody, whoever's listening right now, decide that for this next week, I'm not going to try and push anything. I'm just going to flow. And when something comes up, I'm going to say, you know what? Terrible situation that you are. I love you.
Yeah.
I'm going to flow love instead of flowing the fear and the worry and the doubt or the anger or whatever it is. I'm just not going to go there. I'm on vacation this week from going there. So I'm just going to stay in my heart space and go watch a funny movie. Go pet my cat and my dog, I'm just going to go get into that higher vibration, just for a week. If you don't feel good, then go back to feeling crappy anyway.
Yeah, right. Well, I have to say, I've been, not for a week, for like a few months now, I've been kind of practicing that. I haven't really gotten to the point where I'm saying, I really love you, Mr. Contrast is making me feel miserable. I haven't gotten that close yet. But I have been working pretty well on just, something comes along and trips me up. You know what? I'm just not going to get upset about that. I'm just going to keep going and feel better and do what I can.
That's why I like this one phrase. Well, what if everything is exactly as it ought to be? No? And then another part of that is like, what's meant for me can't be lost.
Yep.
So if it's there no matter what, and I just allow myself to be taken there, and so here's this big bump in the road, looks like a big bump, but what if it's just a fun roller coaster, like a fun part of the ride, not like a high and a low of emotion, but just like a thrill.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
The phrase that I like that I've been using lately is I always get it right. Because I'm one of those people who historically would constantly be picking at myself and criticizing myself and faulting myself. And just taking on the new energy of I always get it right. So even when something doesn't work out the way I want it to, I just catch myself and say, well, I guess I got it right. I did the best I could in that circumstance, so I guess I got it right. And it has a different feel to it. It has a different energy to it, and it feels lighter.
Right. And I bet you that a new beginning comes out of that.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I may not know what it is, but it's almost certainly going to happen.
But wouldn't it be fun to have the surprise and the delight that comes when it shows up?
I think that's part of what I'm working on, actually, because I realized this just the other day talking to, who was I talking to? Steve Rowell, I think. That when Louise and I left Virginia to come to Connecticut, now we originally were in Connecticut. We moved to Virginia, we lived there for 11 years, moved back to Connecticut. When we moved back, there was a very short period, about a 2-week period, in which all this craziness happened, including getting these two guys, these cats. But she got a new job. We found a new place to live in Connecticut. We moved from the old house. We had 2 other cats we had to find homes for. The 2 cars that we had in Virginia, we had to get rid of because we couldn't get up here. When we got up here, we had no cars. We got 2 new cars out of it. All of that happened in a 2-week period. And it happened so fast, and we felt like we were just being beaten around by the forces of the universe. So it happened so quickly that we couldn't even enjoy it. You know, if they had spread out over like a 6-month period, it would have been like, oh, well, that was cool. Oh, well, that was cool. Oh, well, that was cool. But there was no time to breathe. There was no time to breathe.
Yeah, but isn't that cool? Because it just happened, right? And that's the story. That's one of your stories in the book.
Yeah. That's the last story in the book. Yeah. But my point is, I think that's one reason why I'm just kind of feeling a little bit skittish about enjoying the good stuff that comes along. Not that it should. I mean, I want to get that put aside, but I think that's kind of where it's coming from. Like, you know, I don't want to have to be buffeted around like I'm a cork in the water. I want to actually have time to enjoy it and to feel good about it.
Maybe the way we smoothen that out is not to resent and hate all the parts when you're being pulled under, right?
True.
So like we were just talking about, by looking at it, loving it for its whatever it's trying to teach you, maybe it doesn't have to pull you so deep. So maybe the ride can be a little smoother.
Right.
Right.
Yes, that's exactly. Yeah. That's what I want. I'm going to incorporate that into my mirror exercise routine now. I'm going to make that part of my little dialogue with myself.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, because I get a lot out of that. That's actually become my go-to. It used to be my best thing to do was to take my nature walk and listen to the music, and I still do that. But the mirror exercise has kind of supplanted that as being the more effective thing, which I never would have predicted. But it's cool, and it actually feels like it's more of a degree of control, believe it or not, because I feel like I'm more directly interacting with who I am and what I want to be and so forth. So just thought I'd mention that. So we've got about 3 minutes left, I think, 3 or 4 minutes left. Let's see, what time did we start? Well, my timer kind of conked out, so I'm not really sure what time we started. So we'll just kind of go with it, play with it by ear. But in the few minutes that we have left, first of all, give people an idea of how they can reach out to you with the various kinds of energy work you do. I mean, you have all these different things that these services that you offer. Give people an overview of that and tell them how to reach out to you for it.
Well, most of my time is spent one-on-one sessions with clients. Mm-hmm. And you can book right through my website for a single session, but you got to fill out an application for coaching package. It's either a 3-month package or a 6-month package. And that's when you really make the transformation. And we can clear energy in one session, but it's only going to be one session. If you have things you really want to shift and change in your life, it takes a little bit of work, and you got to be willing to do it, right?
Right.
I also have, starting Monday, maybe I'll send, my website is lovemylife.coach. Mm-hmm. If you go to my workshop page, I have a workshop starting on Monday, and there's still room in that. And it's from noon Eastern till 1:30, and I do card readings. We do energy clearings and meditation, and just, really talking about what's happening with the people in the group. The things that they're experiencing during their awakening. So it's a group coaching. Sure. So that's more affordable for people who aren't really sure what the coaching thing is all about. And that's Monday. So if anyone's interested, now's the time.
Okay.
What's today? The 15th. And so that starts on the 18th. I think that's Monday, the 18th.
Right.
And then I also have this one little Raise Your Vibration course. It's only $97. Mm-hmm. And that I'd have to give you a link to too. I mean, it's on the Mind, Body, Spirit Network. Okay. That's Liz's network.
Oh, right. Okay.
That was here last week.
Right.
So actually it's the Mind, Body, Spirit Network, with the / with High Vibe Living. Yeah. And that takes you right to the course right there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And give me that link too. And I'll post it, with today's podcast too, so people can click on it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And that's like things that I've proven that work to lift you out of a low vibe, to really keep that vibration higher. Because, that's what we want to we want to hold this good vibration so that good things come.
That's what everybody wants. I mean, you listen to the conversations on Facebook and the Law of Attraction groups. Almost every message is about how do I lift my vibe? How do I get better vibe? Yeah. So, to have that as a service, that's a really powerful service.
I don't think I could share the link to that there. I don't think that's allowed, but that would help them. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. This has been a fun discussion as usual. Hopefully next time we're going to be able to actually do the live stream too, so we can have the interaction with people who come to join us. Hey, the main thing is we're still able to record for our podcast listeners, and that's where 95% of them are anyway. So that's really the best part. Yeah. But thank you very much.
It's fun because even though people can't see us, they still know that we had all this technical stuff happening.
Oh, geez.
Going on when we're talking about Mercury in retrograde.
Well, I'll tell you, there's actually another thing that happened because I have two different recordings going on. One of those two recordings conked out. That's why I couldn't take a reading. So I'm down to the one recording. I'm glad I do both of them. But, I mean, this is just another example of how the electronics are getting overwhelmed by the spirit right now. We're going to have to do we're going to have these tech companies do a little bit of spirit testing to make sure that their components are actually going to work through spiritual guides. But in the meantime, thank you very much. We'll see you a week from today. The video again. That seems appropriate.
Yeah.
And on that note, we'll say we'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.